In this lesson, we will add extension point to our Red app. In order to do this, we need to complete the following steps. Firstly, create and register a service in which we define the code that extends the flow. In our case, this will be before AirPrice extension point. And secondly, define in manifest.json file our service and which extension point it supports. At the beginning, our service will only console log data available in the extension point in order to check that everything is working fine. This will be changed in the upcoming lessons. Quick note before we start. As you can see, I have ngv run running, and our web module is loaded via Red App development panel. So let's start by adding service. I have our web module opened in VS Code. So let's start by going to source, code, and I will create services directory to keep our code neat and tidy. Next, let's create a service, and I will call it before AirPrice. What we need to do here is to create before AirPrice class. It should extend an appropriate extension point base. In this case, before AirPrice extension. Every service requires service name, service name consists of web module name. So let's start by going to manifest.json file, and I will copy the name of the module, followed by dash, and name of the class. In our case, before AirPrice. Next, we need to create onBeforeAirPrice method that will extend our flow. It should be async. This method requires only one argument, which is request object, and it should return request data result. Here, we want to console log request data. And then we should return result object. A request object defines status. This can be either abort or continue. We will define continue as we don't want to abort our flow. And data. Usually, this is some kind of alteration of request object. I will pass a request object itself without an alteration, as we are only reading data in this extension point. Okay, all is left to do now is to add imports. So let's start by importing before AirPrice extension. And then we should also import command message AirPrice request and extension point data result. As you can see, there are some errors in the logs. To be precise, we are missing extension points module and postcdm module. In order to fix it, we need to add those modules to the build dependencies. So let's go to the VS Code and open package.json file. Here we have Sabre ngv app and Sabre ngv core define. So we need to add Sabre ngv extension points and Sabre ngv postcdm. Let's hit Ctrl S once again. As you can see, ngv run is not rebuilding our web module. It's because there are some exceptions to the watch feature, and one of them is package.json file. So in order to build it successfully, we need to stop ngv run. This can be done using Ctrl C and running it once again. As you can see, build was successful now. So all is left to do is to define our service and which extension point it supports in manifest.json file. So let's go to the VS Code and open manifest.json. Let's start by defining extensions. Then we need to define extension point we are utilizing. So in our case, Dynamo pricing before pricing. Here we define a list of all the services that are implementing this extension point. Services are identified by their service name. So let's copy before air price service name. Okay, one last thing. For this service to be available to the extension point, we need to register it. A good place to do it is init method. So let's start by going to before air price, and I will export this class. Just to go to the main test file, let's remove this show banner code, and then we need to call register service before air price. Okay, let's hit Ctrl S to save all the changes. Then we need to go to the terminal. It looks like everything is fine, but I need to mention right now that manifest.json is also one of the exceptions, the watch feature. So to be able to see our changes in manifest.json file, we need to stop ngv run. And run it once again. So let's go to the application and hit Ctrl+Shift+R to reload the whole. Now is the time to test our code. So let's go to the trip summary. And as you can see, I have some segment added already. Price, let's choose our segment and price. This should trigger our extension point, resulting in request object being console logged to the console. So let's open console by hitting Ctrl+Shift+I. And as you can see, request object air price request is being logged. So it seems like everything is working fine.